Everyone thinks IndyCar is a spec series, but that isn't true. There's many areas that are left for development for the teams. Hi, I'm IndyCar Dad. I read the entire IndyCar rulebook, so you don't have to. So here's some areas that our teams are allowed to openly develop in the cars. The first thing is dampers and inerters. Inerters. That's a thing. You would probably call both of these things shock absorbers, but there's more to it there, and there's a lot of development that has gone on, especially over a few years. You can see the difference in the teams too. Teams like Andretti, they have a great street course damper program, and teams like Penske and Ganassi are good everywhere, whereas some teams like Foyt, for example, for years had a great oval damper package, but their street and road course package was doo-doo. In fact, I remember one year at Detroit, Santino Ferrucci's car was just bottoming out over and over and over again on the street track. So these things are very important. The second thing that's open for development is the treatment, coatings, and oils and filters in the gearbox. Since the engines are all pretty much going to be the same and they're assigned randomly, you have to work with reducing friction in the car to be faster than your competitors. This is especially important at Indy 500, where top speed has a huge amount to do with it. So getting the coatings and the lubricants in the gearbox all set up is going to be very, very important. So the third thing is the treatment and coatings of all bearings. So now you got wheel bearings and you got suspension bearings and things like that. So having low rolling resistance is going to make you faster, but also having suspension that moves more freely will get you better traction. So the less friction, generally faster, and the teams can develop that. Here's another area the teams can develop. It's the end of the fuel hose, the thing they shove into the car during the pit stops. So fueling is going to pace the pit stop. The guys can change the tires faster than you can get the car full of fuel. So if you can fuel faster, get the nozzle in quicker, and get the fuel to flow through that nozzle faster, it's an advantage. A couple of tenths in the pits can make a position or two during a yellow flag pit stop. So very important stuff. The next thing, fifth thing, is brake ducting. So these are brake ducts. On a street course, a road course, they're going to be very important to cool the brakes because there's going to be a lot of heat built up. And then at places like Indianapolis, you want the cooling if you need it, but you also want low aerodynamic drag to get that top speed that you want. Number 6 is water lines, fuel lines, oil lines, and the internal parts of the fuel cell. So I'm not an expert on everything, right? I'm just a big fan. But I did watch the movie Days of Thunder, and in Days of Thunder, they talk about how the fuel line's going to help them have more fuel range and go further between pit stops. Does that work in Indy? I'm not really sure, and I doubt the teams will tell me either. So, the 7th thing is open for development is nuts, bolts, push rod ends, seals, and studs. Again, I'm not sure what that does for speed, but I'm not an Indy engineer. I'm an engineer, but not an IndyCar one. So the 8th thing is, while not open for development, the teams do have a lot of variables that they use in their setups. So they do suspension geometry, damping rates, spring rates, tire pressures, where the weight ballast goes, aero settings. There's a bunch of stuff that they can work on. And teams that have more experience or have better data analysis to get the setups right, or get the testing right, those teams are going to excel. So it's not like everybody's showing up with the same car on Sunday, because it's just really not true. And the 9th thing is my favorite thing, and that is driver skill, which of all these things is probably the most important. We have seen Dale Coyne drivers, and Dale Coyne is one of the least funded teams on the grid, but we have seen drivers from his team win races. Above and beyond all of the development, that driver skill is very, very important. There you go. Those are the things. So next time you're watching IndyCar or you're at the track, look for these things on the cars and see if you can tell the difference. It's something to look out for, and hopefully it makes watching the races more fun for you. I'm IndyCar Dad. I try to help people focus on having a great time while watching IndyCar. If you don't mind, could you like my stuff and subscribe? I'm trying to get enough followers that IndyCar has to give me a media pass, and I get in the races for free.